This is probably something you guys haven't seen me do in a while. This is a collection video of what, you guessed it, my prized collection. This, in case you guys are too young or too naive to understand what this is the Walt Disney Classics collection. These are all VHS tapes of what, you guessed, many of our childhood classics. This collection saw the release of many of these classic titles on home video for the first time ever. And it has also set the standard by which Disney does their home video stuff to this day, with Moratorium and all that jazz, the Disney Vault, the infamous Disney Vault, if you will. This saw the release of not only many of our classic Disney films from our parents' childhood, but many of the modern ones that were being released in theaters at that time that Disney was willing to risk go directly to video after their release in theaters. The line began in 1984 with the release of Robin Hood, which is a very rare tape that I'm still very pissed that I can't find. And don't give me links to eBay because I don't have a PayPal account, so I do most of my stuff via driving and swap meets and stuff like that, but unfortunately no one's had that particular copy. And it ended in 1994, as I was saying, with the release, let me get a closer look here, of The Fox and the Hound. These are many of the big Disney titles. Not all the big ones. There are a few major titles that did not get released until... Gotta slide down there. They were not released till much later. Some that were not released and not even made during this time period. And I have 2 straggler videos without boxes. It could be 3 when we go tackle one of my Alice in Wonderland copies, but more on that later. I am very proud of this collection, guys. This has taken me since 8th grade, which was about 6 years ago. This has taken me 6 years to do. Now I got the bulk of it done at a specific time, but man, I am damn proud of this collection. For newcomers, there are reasons why you have doubles, and there are some reasons why there are only singles. But what you guys need to know is that as a collector, you always want to have doubles of something, so in case someone wants to blow you away with an offer for something, you'd have a backup copy to show exactly how far you've come. Okay, let us get started with the first title I have, the oldest video title I have. And what you're going to see is I'm going to show you guys the videotape box, the tape itself, maybe a couple of little tidbits about the video to recognize things about it, and my personal opinion of the video with which I am tackling. So let us start with the first video, which is, of course, Pinocchio, which we will tackle next video. So in case you guys are wondering, I will be right back. Although the Walt Disney Classics collection opened with Robin Hood in 1984, its most successful first release was Pinocchio. Pinocchio was released on home video in the summer of 1985. And it heavily promoted Disney's new film at that point, The Black Cauldron, which, as many of you know, if you've never heard of it, or as you guys infamously know, it was a complete and utter disaster by the standards of most Disney fans. Now, early Disney titles like Pinocchio would have this big The Classics logo on it. Most, I believe, up until 1988 would have this particular logo on them. And even some of the recurring ones, such as Alice in Wonderland, would retain them. Now, another big thing you've probably noticed is the black clamshell. Now, this most early 1980s Disney Classics videos had very cushioning containers. containers, wow. Cushioning cases. They feel like pillows, really. That's because they have an extra layer of cardboard wedged into it to keep the videos safe. Now, what Disney was afraid of was of people breaking these covers and then thus breaking the tapes, and then they were afraid that they would have to keep re-releasing these films because initially the videos were not supposed to be re-released. Pinocchio was going to be out in 1985, and that was it. It was never supposed to see the light of day again. Along with this cushioning case, which would end in 1986, with the release of The Sword and the Stone, another one I don't have, it has this very special The Classics logo embedded into the case. Pretty much built and a Walt Disney Home Video logo. You obviously can't see it because my camera is not the best. In fact, I've used a lot of different cameras with this one, but unfortunately my cell phone one is the best one. But yeah, they wanted to make this a big trumpeted release, which is Pinocchio, of course. Now, there are two versions of this Pinocchio tape that exist. I have the second version, unfortunately. When you're looking at videos, you want to look for a print date, but not a lot of early videotapes would have print dates, so take that for what it's worth. Another way to prove its authenticity is colored logos. A lot of the early Disney films did have these colored logos on them. So you have Pinocchio and Walt Disney Home Video colored in, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Especially with these early ones. This was released, this is probably one of the later releases following the Black Cauldron's absolute failure at the box office. Let's see. Let's gently put you in there. Let's put you back. But yeah, this was a coup de grace. I got this for Christmas, for one of my big Christmas presents in a couple years ago, I believe. When was the last time I did this? Definitely a couple years ago. This was definitely a big get for Christmas for me last year. A couple years ago, whatever. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the movie. The tape plays brilliantly, which I'm very surprised by. 1985. Which means this tape is 30 years old, so you'd think it has a bit of wear and tear on it, like some of my other videos do, but I digress. Pinocchio is a fantastic Disney film. It is my fifth favorite right now. For a while, it was tied with Frozen, but I'm more of an entertainment value person over an artistic kind of person, so I put Frozen maybe like half a percentage point higher than the Frozen on there. Well, Frozen higher than Pinocchio, of course, but there is nothing in Pinocchio to not like. The songs are terrific. The characters are terrific. The animation is probably Walt Disney's finest that they did at the time. Pinocchio is, of course, Disney's second film, right after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's pretty much it. I am gonna have a couple more Pinocchio videos to show you guys before we finish up. So, yeah, this is Pinocchio. Fantastic film, and a very good, opener for my collection. I actually got this tape fairly recently. This is I believe the third rendition of Dumbo to be released on home video. This was part of a huge extremely rare collector's case in which the first 6 titles were released in one big box. The problem was I found this and about I think one of the other titles. The problem was the box that they were supposed to be in was in horrible condition. Had I bought the box for the additional $10 that it was going to cost, the box was probably going to explode. And I'd rather not have the box explode and prove to be a fruitless gain for us, so I chose to salvage whatever from that collection I could find, which was this and a copy of Pinocchio, which I will show you in a moment. First, let's open the case. Another tape that plays brilliantly. Actually, let's just get it out of here. Thank you. Thank you, Dumbo, for proving to be very useful. You can see, very pretty tape. I love this tape. No print date, though, but as you can see from the colored in Walt Disney Home Video logo, this is not a pirated tape. Well, what can I say about Dumbo? It's really... One moment, please. What can I really say about Dumbo? It is pretty much... Shut that. One of Disney's best work. It is a very simple film, but again, a very outstanding film. For all that emotion, for that to come out in like not half an hour, like an hour. Like, seriously, the film is only 63 minutes long. You need proof. Do they have it on the back? Yeah, there you go. 63-minute runtime. That's just wrong. For all that emotion to come out in just 60 minutes, I think that's amazing. So Disney should be really proud of that. It's a very odd film, but a very, very brilliantly animated and brilliantly designed film. So I guess you got to take it for what it's worth. Dumbo is a masterpiece. All right, that's pretty much it. This copy of Pinocchio was another part of that collector's edition, which had the original 6 titles in it. In case you're wondering, the original 6 titles were Robin Hood, Pinocchio, Dumbo, The Sword in the Stone, Alice in Wonderland, and Sleeping Beauty. Very similar artwork to the original Pinocchio box. In fact, extremely similar. The only difference is it actually has the profile of the character now, which would become a staple for... I think it's Disney is still doing it. I still have to actually, I should just double check my Aladdin Blu-ray and see if they're still doing it. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't do a big opening for my Aladdin one. Now, starting in 1986, the ink for the logos would become more expensive, so they decided pretty much just to stop coloring in the original logo, but they would make sure that the home video, Walt Disney Home Video logo right there, was still colored in. This one does have a print date. May 7th, 1987. So this was actually a later release because Pinocchio was supposed to go into the vault in January of 1987 following an extremely successful release of Sleeping Beauty on home video, which we will get to momentarily. Does not want to go into the box. Oh, that's why. The top's about to open. Don't know why. But this is unfortunately one of those tapes that does not run particularly well. It has like this weird film on it where a lot of the a lot of it's way too bright in some areas. Like, if it looks like it's a fake tape, but from what I've gathered, it is a pretty legit tape. It has this weird film, like you can hardly read some of the names in the intro credits, but whatever. I've watched it through till the end. It's still a very good video, obviously. Beginning in 1986, Disney would ensure that they would always have a big title released for the holiday season. They actually continue that to this day with their Platinum Editions and Diamond Edition films that get released. The first big title outside of Pinocchio to get a release on home video was Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty was released in, I want to say November of 1986, but I'm not entirely sure. It may have been October and it may have been December. This is another very rare tape to find because it is said that only 1 million of these copies were ever sold, but some of the Wikipedia page for the Walt Disney Classics says that there were sales going as late as 1988, actually, when it was paired with Lady and the Tramp to go back into the vault. This, until I got that Pinocchio tape, was the oldest tape in my collection. The print date, you may not be able to see it because of the light. It is July 31st, 1986. And there's another date on there that says July 30th, 1986. Take that for what it's worth. This tape also came with ancillary stuff. I got this one for Christmas a couple years ago. This one was one I actually almost cried over not getting because, to be fair, this was an extremely hard tape to find, and it was the only title other than The Rescuers Down Under that I'd yet to find. This is a business reply card. You would hand these in to pretty much subscribe to getting good Walt Disney Home Video content and all that stuff. You didn't have to do these, but Disney liked it if you would. And then it came with this little pamphlet trumpeting Sleeping Beauty's release on home video for $29.95. Now, most of the videos early on were selling for $80, or specifically $79.95. Pinocchio dropped for a bit, but then it went right back up. And some titles even sold for $84.95. So think about that. Videotapes cost $85. And here I am buying these things for 99 cents, 50 cents, and whatnot. 6 of Disney's classic full-length animated films are now available. And also, alongside the ones that aren't colored in, you have Alice in Wonderland, Robin Hood, and Sleeping Beauty, of course. They actually did sell them in a box, but unfortunately the box I found at the thrift store was in horrible condition. I could not take that thing home. I'd feel ashamed if I did, because it would fall apart. It also trumpets some live-action releases like Mary Poppins, Pete's Dragon, Pollyanna, and so forth for $29.95. And then classic holiday films for $19.95 each. Those would sell for like $10 in like 10 years from that point on. These were selling for $14.95 each, pretty much just basic cartoons like Mickey's Christmas Carol and the Unsinkable Donald Duck, which would probably have like 3 or 4 shorts attached, and even Disney sing-alongs, which were starting around at this point. I'll put you to the side for now, because we got to go to that other copy. I got this one recently. I did a video about this one, along with a couple other titles I got. Same intro, same intro, same print, same stuff. I don't believe... Oh, no, this one does have a print date. In case you guys can't see, it is... Let's try to get... Yeah, you can't see it. November 24th, 1986. Well, we may as well put one away at least so I can talk about the movie. Because Sleeping Beauty is one I have a lot to say about. Oh, it's my thrift store release. I was like, oh my god, this one came with ancillary stuff too? No, it was my thrift store receipt. Sleeping Beauty is one of those films that is borderline masterpiece material. It's got great animation, stunning animation, brilliant music, a great villain in Maleficent, which Disney totally botched her movie, and great side characters in The Three Good Fairies. However, there is a catch. These two are probably the most boring leads in the history of Disney animation, and I shit you guys not when I say that. They are pretty bad, my friends, pretty bad indeed. But other than that, the Sleeping Beauty is a great film. It's one of my personal favorites. Dumbo, I did not say where it ranked. I'll say that when I open up another Dumbo tape, because it is inevitable. I have 6 Dumbo tapes, so yeah. Sleeping Beauty ranks, I believe, 13th on my list. 13th or 12th on my list of personal favorite Disney films. In case you're wondering if it's 12th or 13th, the other video in that collection would be Bambi, and we're going to talk about Bambi when we get to Bambi. Great film, great overall greatness, Sleeping Beauty. Very rare find. If you can find this, you're already well on your way of becoming a Disney Classics collector.